All right, hey there, guys. Adrian DeCosta here, aka Jenna95, coming at you guys with another video. Yes, we're doing another theme team video today, but we're doing a little bit of a different one as we actually let's move into the screen first and then start it. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, hey there, guys. Adrian DeCosta here, aka Jenna95, coming at you guys with another video. So today, guys, I put this out on Twitter. I asked you guys if you think this would do well, and I had a fairly receptive response. A lot of people said yes, this would probably do well. So I'm gonna do talk about some cards that could be useful for every single theme team. Now, originally I had some parameters set, be it for like, cutoff and whatnot. But after thinking about it and talking with the Twitch chat, which by the way, we are recording this live on Twitch, we decided to go forth and not do that. And we also decided to not include one, but two players from each team that don't have a card that or haven't had a card in a long while that could very well use one. But if you guys want to see more stuff like this, hit the like button below and subscribe if you guys are new. It is going to be a bit of a long video because we got quite a bit of cards to go through. So first off, for the San Francisco 49ers, the first card that the Twitch chat and I came to an agreement on was going to be Javon Hargrave. Where is he? He's not actually in... Okay, he's not actually in this... He's not actually in this thing here. So Javon Hargrave, this is his best card right here. Is an 80. Hang on, let me just move the screen. Is an 88 overall from all the way back in Ultimate Kickoff in early September. This was the last card he got, and he hasn't had a card since. And I don't understand it. He's had a couple of opportunities to get more cards, like the Super Bowl promo, as well as potentially even the Sugar Rush promo. And the EA was just like, nah, he's not going to get one. And then the other one that the Twitch chat came up with that we thought was another one was Talanoa Hufanga. His last card was Team of the Week, week 3, all the way back in late September, just around the same time as they got Javon Hargrave. This is his best card, 87 speed. Like, this card does need... Hufanga does need a new card, and I'm quite surprised that this is a player, and this is the team. These guys specifically don't have cards. Next, with the Chicago Bears theme team, we actually have Justin Fields. Now, I know he's a Steeler, and obviously, we thought about making it more or less like players that are currently on those specific teams, if they were current day players, but for the most part, we decided to go against that just because it would make the list a little bit weird and a little bit lengthy. But Justin Fields, his last card was a competitive pass player all the way back in October. Once again, early October, like the first week of October is when we got him. Haven't had a card for Justin Fields since then, which is kind of ridiculous to me, especially now that he's been traded to the Steelers. And then the other one we don't have a card for that we also put down was Allen Robinson for the Steelers, or for the Bears, I mean. 95 speed is still workable, but obviously now Allen Robinson does need a new card. His last good card was in early December, actually. I can't even lie about that. This actually was a good card at the time, but obviously he does need a new card now. So yes, give us a new Allen Robinson, please. For the Cincinnati Bengals, the chat and I had a little bit of a back and forth on this one, but we came up with a couple of players. The first one the first one is DJ Turner, who was a cornerback he's a cornerback. This was his last card, was a Blitz card way back in late November for the Blitz promo. 90 overall with 91 speed. Hasn't gotten a card since then. Don't understand why. He also did get Redux because they do Redux Blitz cards. And then the other one that I personally put on here was Joe Burrow, just because he hasn't had a card since Zero Chill. And I think the Bengals could probably do with a new Joe Burrow card, just because Joe Burrow is just... It's Joe Burrow. Like, I don't really think I need to explain otherwise, other than that for him. Next up for the Buffalo Bills, we actually have a couple. First up, I put down Von Miller. I don't understand how Von Miller hasn't gotten another card yet. To me, this one doesn't make any sense. I believe actually he has a little bit of controversy going on, so that's why they probably haven't given him a card. But even then, I mean, if that's the case, then I can understand him not having a card. But if that's not the case, then give him a new card. What's the issue here? Give Von Miller a new card. He does need a new one. for himself. And then the other one we put down was Matt Milano for the right outside linebacker position. Has not gotten a card at all this year. This is the best card he's gotten in, and it's funny to me that this is the best card he's gotten, Matt Milano, with 82 speed, 82 acceleration. This card even at the time wasn't that good, but like imagine now, like, well, obviously he's just like, it's a laughing stock, but you get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, moving on to the Denver Broncos theme team. Where are the Denver Broncos? So we put 2 players down for the Broncos. Again, first one we put down was Courtland Sutton. This was his last card way back in Christmas. This card was very, very poorly received by Broncos fans, and rightfully so. This card is terrible. Was not very good at the time. And honestly, I'm kind of shocked that he doesn't have a better card than what he has now. Not even like a solid like weekly wild card player. And then the other card we put down for the Broncos was Javonte Williams. His first card was a headliner card way back in the literally on launch. This was the card he got on launch. Hasn't gotten a card since then, and it's quite frankly unacceptable in my opinion that someone like Javonte Williams hasn't gotten a card at some point in the year. And again, I understand maybe he wasn't that great this season for the Broncos. However, like, you can still give players who aren't that great cards. Like, it's really not that difficult to do. Anyways, moving on to the Cleveland Browns. The ones we put down for the Cleveland Browns. The first one was going to be Nick Chubb. He doesn't have a card. Where is Nick Chubb? Hang on, I'll search for him. Nick Chubb. His first card his only card that he has is an 85 overall core elite. And that's really, really shocking to me. The next one that we put down for the Browns is Greg Newsome. Now, his last card was a 90 overall. I believe, where is Greg Newsome? Right here. 91 overall stocking stuffer. Really, really weird. One of the better corners in the NFL doesn't have a better card than this. Yeah. I think he needs a new card, and he needs a new card now. Arizona Cardinals. We have first up we have James Conner. Well, let me figure out what James Conner card is. So James Conner's last card was a 92 overall Angry Runs player in early December. It was like, I think the same week of the same week of Zero Chill dropping. But this is James Conner's best card. Obviously, does need a new one. That's the whole point of this video, is to shed light on those who need new cards. And then the other one we pointed out was Pat Tillman, 91 overall with 92 speed. He's probably going to get a UL at some point, but I'm just pointing it out because he does need a new card. Pat Tillman, one of the most memorable cards of all time. Especially that Madden 20 Mutt Master does not have any higher than a 91, which is kind of crazy to me. Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers. The first one we put down was Asante Samuel Jr. Let me find Asante Samuel Jr.'s card. Here it is right here. His best card is his score elite still, much like Nick Chubb and Matt Milano. Has not gotten a card all year, and it's not acceptable in my opinion. Like, there needs to be more players like this given cards too. Asante Samuel may not be the greatest of cornerbacks in the NFL, but he's still good enough to have more than an 82 overall corner. And then finally, for the other one for the Chargers, we put down Justin Herbert. They need a quarterback card really, really bad. And Justin Herbert is a player that I think a lot of people want to use, especially Chargers fans. His throwing animation may not be the best, with Slinger 5 being his selection, but I mean, at this point, just use Gunslinger and you're fine. Like, I really am not a fan of those guys at this point in the year who still argue about releases being bad and good. Like, you use Gunslinger, all the releases are the same speed and same velocity, so it really doesn't matter which ones you use. I completely skipped over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to backtrack and go to the Bucs real quick. So for the Bucs, the first one we put down was Baker Mayfield. Kind of surprised he didn't get a playoff card with how he played, or even like a playoff master, considering the Bucs were a playoff team. I'm kind of surprised Baker didn't get a playoff card, but he definitely does need a new card, and obviously him getting re-signed by the Bucs for next few years is really, really good for them, and I do think Baker Mayfield is somebody that definitely does need a new card. And the other one we put down was Aqib Talib for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now this card is also one that you like. A lot of these cards definitely are like needing of upgrades. I know this one is specifically for the Broncos, but he did play for the Buccaneers, so we're counting it as a Buck. As you see right here, as you see over, let me just move this over right here. You see right at the bottom there, he played for the Buccaneers. He was actually drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But yeah, he does need a new card. Hopefully he gets his UL very, very soon. Next up, moving on, now that we've gotten past the fast track, we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the Chiefs were the difficult one because they're obviously one of the best themed teams in the entirety of Madden, but we did find a couple that we were quite surprised did not have another card. The first one is Willie Gay for the right outside linebacker position. Much like Milano, Nick Chubb, and Asante Samuel, this is the only card he has, which is his core gold, which again, like I've said before, is not acceptable to me. They need to be putting out more cards for these type of players as much as possible. And then the second one we went with was Trey Smith, who only has an 86 overall, and the Chiefs could use a right guard because their best right guard right now is their Team Diamonds Will Shields, who probably, again, much like, Pat Tillman, he'll probably get a UL at some point, but we don't want to be waiting for ULs, right? We want to be getting these cards out, and we want to be getting these players new cards. Next up for the Colts, we have a couple that we put out. The first one we have was Reggie Wayne, Team Diamond, does need a new card, 91 speed, 93 acceleration. It's not that good. I understand Reggie Wayne went out than one of the fastest players on the planet Earth, but he does need a new card. And then the other one we decided to go with was Kenny Moore. One of the best nickel corners in the entire NFL, does not have any higher than a 91 overall, which is weird to me. I would have thought they would have gotten at least in the voting for Team of the Year, but I actually think he was in the voting for Team of the Year, but he didn't actually win even honorable mention. Next up for the Washington Commanders, we decided to go with, first off, we went with Terry McLaurin. His last card was a Harvest Hungry Hero that needed to be upgraded with turducken cards. So those that joined the game, after, say, when the game went free on Game Pass, that want to build a Commanders team, well, you can't use this Terry McLaurin because there's no way to get him now. And it's really, really weird. And even with the turduckens, you can't get them. But yeah, so the Commanders... definitely, Harry McLaurin does need a new card. And then the other one we went with was Antonio Gibson. Again, only has a core gold, not really acceptable. So we'll just move on and go to the next team, which is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys is another team that was really kind of hard to put together some people because they just have so many good players. But the first one we went with was Zach Martin. His last card was Most Feared Champion, Arcana Champion, back in October, mid-October to be exact. And then the last one that we went with was their kicker was Brandon Aubrey. The guy made a Pro Bowl. The guy was an All-Pro this year. He's not even in the game. Go ahead and scroll up for you guys on this. He's not even in the game, which is absolutely insane to me that they don't have him in the game this year. So yeah, EA needs to it's kind of weird that they just don't even be having some of these guys in for kickers and for rights and whatnot that are currently in the NFL. That to me is a little bit strange. Next we move on to the Miami Dolphins. The two players that we came up with the Dolphins are relatively actually straightforward. The first one was Teron Armstead. I know he got a weekly wild card almost a couple of weeks ago, but this card is horrendous and he needs a new one now. This card just should not be a 91 overall. It just shouldn't, especially since it's only a +2 from his Redux card that he got in way back in October. And then the other player we went with was Jalen Waddle. His last card was a 90 Ghosts of Mutt player. Here it is right here. Well, 95 speed isn't the slowest of player of cards in the slowest of speeds. He does have really, really bad route running, as he only has 86, 89, and 95 for the route running, which is just wild. No. Jalen Waddle needs a new card, absolutely. And so, yeah. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, we have the two that we put down. The first one we put down was Jordan Mailata, his last card, obviously being a Harvest. hero. Yeah, he needs a new card. Definitely is an upgradable card that needs to be upgraded as soon as possible. And then the other one I personally put down was Brian Dawkins. He does need a new card, and I suspect he will get a UL at some point, much like with Pat Tillman. But again, it's another player that needs a card, and he needs a card really, really badly, because as Brian Dawkins is one of the greatest safeties of all time, and I don't understand why he has anything less than a 91. Atlanta Falcons. This one was a bit of a weird one for the Falcons. For the first one we decided to actually pick was Cordero Patterson. Yes, he is a Steeler now, but Cordero Patterson does need a new card. Everybody loves Cordero Patterson cards, and I'm no exception. This card, they play really, really well. He's a big body too, at 6'2", 220 pounds. I think it was his Madden 22 veteran card that he was 235, and that was a really, really nice card for the time. But this player does need a new card for the Falcons team. And the other one for the Falcons is going to be Alex Mack. Alex Mack is another one that came out. He came out in early November, needs a new card, and needs it bad, because this card is really not that great, especially when you consider that we have guys with lighted up unstoppable forces running around with like 1 AP double or nothing, or like 0 AP double or nothing on top of it. New York Giants. The two we came up with were pretty straightforward, to be completely honest. First is Kayvon Thibodeaux. Last card was a Most Feared player way back in... It was the final release of Most Feared. It was actually, as you shows, like right over here. It was the final week of October. Like the final drop of Most Feared was that around that time. So yeah, Kayvon Thibodeaux is one that needs a card, and then the other one we need a new card of is Xavier McKinney. His last card was an 88 Campus Heroes 2 player, and I don't think that this card is really not that good. And obviously the Packers could use a free safety as well, which is why I threw him in here. I'm just going to shrink the screen a little bit. The Packers need a new free safety, so that's why I threw him in. But yeah, he needs a new card as well, and that's nothing else really to say about that. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The two we put down here, also pretty straightforward. Travis Etienne, last card was a Zero Chill release 2, I believe is what it was. In December, 91 speed, not that great. And then the other one is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Definitely needs a new card. His abilities right now for quarterbacks are just not that great. He does get Hot Route Master, but obviously with quarterbacks being able to get Hot Route Master, like get all this, like get Hot Route Master for like all this, and then the Hot Route Master, like, you know what I say, like they get a whole bunch of stuff for cheaper than what he gets Hot Route Master for, I think is something that needs to be looked at, and they need to make a card for him. New York Jets, again, this was another one that was really kind of tricky, but we did find a couple. First off was Quincy Williams. His last card was a LTD Team of the Week player in the middle of October. 88 speed, yep, you get it. Like, this card, not that great. And then the other one we came up with was Darrelle Revis. His last card was a playoff welcome pack card. Now, on paper, this card isn't horrendous with 95 speed, but Darrelle Revis is one of those guys that just absolutely needs to be having a top card in the top corner in the game when it comes time to give him a top cornerback card, because of just how good he is. So yeah, I would say go ahead and give him a new card as soon as possible. Detroit Lions. I almost said New York Lions. Detroit Lions, again, another tricky one, but we did find a couple. First off, we did go with Graham Glasgow. Also, again, Zero Chill card, 90 overall. Not really the best, but overall, like, he's not even the starter, but I really feel like he should get a new card. You probably could also throw in Bill Fralick in here if you really wanted to, but we didn't go with that. We went with Glass now. And then the other one is CJ Gardner-Johnson. I know he just signed back with the Philadelphia Eagles in what can only be described as a bizarre circumstance. But CJ Gardner-Johnson does need a new card. His last one was an AKA back in early November, very early November. So he does need a new card overall as well. Now we move on to the Green Bay Packers. They're division rivals. Now, the players that we picked up with, there was a couple that we threw around in the chat. But the two we came up with was, first off, was Gilbert Brown. I think it is the Gravedigger, basically. This Gravedigger card, absolutely an incredible card. I don't think people really remember how good this card was when it dropped. I loved this card, and I still kind of do, because he's a big body at 6'2", 345 pounds. Let me just scooch this over so you can see it. There it is. Okay, cool. And then the other player that we came up with was, where is he? Devondre Campbell. His last card, again, much like some other players on this list, was a core elite card way back on launch, which again, just needs to not be the case with some players. Like, they need to be putting out more cards for these guys that don't have cards. Carolina Panthers was the next one that we decided to go with. Now, there was a few of them. That we could have went with. Bryce Young was one that we floated around. Jared Allen was one we floated around as well, because we thought he could get one. Derek Brown, I think, is another one that we probably should have discussed more. We didn't really talk about Derek Brown. But the two that we came up with, the first one was Greg Olsen. We decided to throw out Greg Olsen. He does need a new one. Obviously, last card was an All Madden, the second drop of All Madden. So yeah, he does need a new card. D Money, appreciate the follow, my friend. Hope you're having a great afternoon. Just a reminder again, guys, we are on Twitch for those that are going to be seeing this on YouTube a few days later. That's where you guys can see everything that I do. That gets brought over to the YouTube for you guys. And then the other thing we're talking about for the players that need upgrades is Von Bell. His last card was a Amazon Prime Headliners card in like the beginning of September. And I don't really think I need to explain how much that is just kind of wild to me, as I've already talked about it a few times. New England Patriots is the next one. We're going in order. I don't know if you guys have been able to tell that by now, but we are. So for the Patriots, the first one we came up with was Kyle Duggar. His last card was, again, much like a lot of these cards, a zero chill card, 91 speed on a theme team, but this card still does need something new to him, especially with all these defensive backs running around with like lighted up X factors and stuff of that nature. And then the other one we went for the Patriots is Junior Seau. We probably could have threw this one in for the Chargers or Dolphins, but I feel like the Patriots one is probably better for them, just because the Patriots actually do need a middle linebacker. Landon Roberts and Rob Gronkowski are really not that great anymore. Gronk, I think, is still actually somewhat competent, but Landon Roberts is not that good. Fred Taylor's all right, but Junior Seau, they could absolutely benefit from with having him. Now moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders. The first one we came up with for the Raiders was Lincoln Kennedy, which was a right tackle for the Team Diamonds program. Definitely is in need of a new card. Like this card is like 200 some odd K on Xbox, and he really shouldn't be, but he is because he's a Team Diamond and we don't have any new ones. And then the other card that we came up with is Christian Wilkins. This guy just signed with the Raiders and doesn't have anything more than his core elite, much like a bunch of other players, which I've already said many times, not acceptable. This guy needs a new card, and he needs a new card immediately. Moving on now to the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams is another difficult one because they have a lot of good players that they have for their theme team for the Rams, but we did come up with two. The first one we came up with is Kobe Turner, one of the top rookies of the NFL last year. Had a better rookie season than Jalen Carter. Don't at me, Eagles fans, he absolutely did. And yeah, he does need a new card. 90 overall, not really that great, especially when you consider that, again, Jalen Carter has gotten like another card, even though Kobe Turner is better than him. Next up, also for the the Rams, we decided to go with Tyler Higbee. Last card was a playoff card. I believe it was at the first or second release of the playoff promo. 91 overall. Yeah, like, he's okay, but like actually not even okay. He's just not that good, so he needs a new one. Next, moving on to the Ravens. Now, the Ravens were another difficult one because they have so many. He's usually one of the best theme teams every single year, but much like everything else, we did come up with a couple. The first is Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker of all time, only having a 90 overall. is not sitting well with me, and I quite frankly do not like that. I hope Justin Tucker gets a card very, very soon. And then the other one for the Ravens that we picked is Ronnie Stanley. His last card was a 91 Division Dynasty back in early March. But I think it was like before the Easter promo is when they decided, the Harvest promo is when they dropped Division Dynasty 1. But yeah, Ronnie Stanley is in need of a new card. So yeah, make it happen at EA Sports. They are in need of the new cards. New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints team got a couple for you guys. First off, we decided to go with Jimmy Graham. His last card was a Team Diamonds card. Again, not really needing much to say. 92 speed, 92 acceleration, needs a new card, and he needs it bat in the worst way possible. Next up, we also have Demario Davis. Speaking of cards who need an upgrade the worst way possible, this Demario Davis, even at the time it dropped, was not very good, and this Demario Davis has just gotten obviously significantly worse as time has progressed. Obviously, Demario Davis is one of the best linebackers in the entirety of the NFL, and I don't understand why they shaft him every single year. Like, it seems like EA does not want to give Demario Davis a good card at all, and I, quite frankly, don't understand it. And speaking of players who don't get cards when they really, really should be, let's talk about my Seahawks. First off, we're going to talk about one player that I think needs a card. It's Bobby Wagner. I am not understanding how one of the greatest linebackers of all time has nothing more than an 87 overall. It makes zero damn sense, and his last card came out in late August. I don't understand it either. So yeah, Bobby Wagner is one that needs a card. And then the other player we went with was actually not what you guys thought it was. We decided actually to try something different. We actually decided to go with Boye Mafe for the Seahawks team. We thought that Boye Mafe was probably in need of a card as well. Now, stick with me here. I know you're probably thinking something. Stick with me. I understand we do need a Geno Smith, and yes, I would be completely fine with a Geno Smith. You could throw him on this list if you want. But the Twitch chat and I came up with this one as we think Boye Mafe needs a card because he hasn't gotten a better card than a 78 overall all pissing year. Now, moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first one we came up with the Steelers is Alex Highsmith. Yeah, much like a few other cards on this list, this is his only card, which is a core elite. And it seems like EA just completely forgets this man exists. And I don't understand it. Please give him a new card. That would be fantastic. And then for the other player that we decided to go with in the chat is Russell Wilson. Now, I understand, like, the Steelers just got a great quarterback upgrade with... do I have to actually type Dangerous? I do. Okay. But yeah, Russell Wilson. I understand he just got signed by the Steelers, and they just got Terry Bradshaw. But the Twitch chat decided they wanted to use Russell Wilson, and I can understand it because Russell Wilson will be a lot more mobile of a quarterback than Terry Bradshaw. So people are going to want to use him more just because he is a lot more mobile. But you can throw him in for the Seahawks team if you want because we need our quarterback upgrade. Next up is the Houston Texans. The two players that we came up with the Texans, also relatively straightforward. First off, Arian Foster. Last card he got was a Hispanic Heritage Month card all the way back in October. And yeah, where's Arian Foster's UL? I'm not really understanding why EA is taking so long. Like, I don't understand why EA doesn't give some of these, like, some players cards like for months on end. Like, they just forget about them, I think. I don't know. And then the other one for the Texans we came up with was actually another player that had a pretty solid year, is Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley's last card was in early December. It was a Team of the Week card after they played the Broncos, I believe is what it was. While this card isn't terrible by any stretch anymore, especially on a Texans theme team, you kind of have to think that Derek Stingley is due for a brand new card because of how long it's been since he's gotten one. Now we move on to the penultimate team, which is the Tennessee Titans. The first one we came up with was Warren Moon. Warren Moon's last card was, again, an All Madden. He was actually All Madden 1 drop in early, actually, this is late November. Either way, he's an All Madden drop. Definitely needs a new card, much like, again, with the Seahawks with Russell Wilson and Geno Smith. The Seahawks quarterbacks are just really, really bad. But we're focusing on Warren Moon for the Tennessee Titans because he's much more known, in my opinion, as a Titan. And then the other one we came up with was Jeffrey Simmons. His last card was a Division Dynasty 88 overall, and that's just not acceptable for one of the best nose tackles in the entirety of the NFL. I think he should have been I think he should have at least a 93 by now, but, again, EA Sports just doesn't. They're just bad at their jobs. And then finally, guys, for the Minnesota Vikings, the two we came up with, our first, Adrian Peterson. Now he'll definitely absolutely get a UL at some point or get another card, but Adrian Peterson not having a higher card than a 90 overall to me is kind of baffling when you consider the fact that some other like running backs, like say Jaylen Warren, have a better card than him. Which I'm not shitting on Jaylen Warren, but with all due respect, it's not Adrian Peterson. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. And then the last card we came up with is Paul Krause. His card came out at the end of September of last year and hasn't gotten a new card since. And it really, again, just doesn't make sense how he doesn't have a better card than what he has now. And I, quite frankly, don't get it. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for the video. It was a very decently long video. Hopefully not, but it probably was. What cards did I miss on your favorite on your theme team that you guys think would be great for an upgrade? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, hit the like button if you guys did, and subscribe if you guys are new. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.